Come on now, fellas! We've got to answer the bell. Now let's go!
Hello, everyone. Welcome into a Friday edition Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yow, Mo Patton here on this Friday edition, and it is a beautiful Friday outside, Mo, for now. It's not going to be a great weekend, but we'll take what we can get right now. We're loving life here in Southern Middle Tennessee, coming to you live from the studio on Casual Friday for me.
Just live in the moment, man.
Hey.
Enjoy it while it's here.
We're here. We're having a good time. Hope you guys are as well. Getting ready for a big weekend of sports ahead. It is a huge weekend, as a matter of fact, and we're going to get to all of those events that are coming up in the rundown here in just a few minutes. But before we do any of that, I want to tell you we've got a great show for you. Jordan D. Hill is going to join us, talk a little college football playoff as he works for Dogs 24/7, talk a little Georgia. We'll also get in touch with TERESA Walker, who will tell us all about what's going on in Titans camp as they get ready for tomorrow's massive AFC South championship game. And then we'll talk about the NFL. They've made some – I think they just made up some rules today. So there's that.
Well, when you have a situation that you have no rules for,
you got to do what you got to do.
yeah.
And we'll also talk about some rule breakers.
Speaking of
or
rules,
at least one rule breaker. Jim Harbaugh has received
Coach Khakis,
a notice of allegations from the NCAA. So, yeah, should be fun.
He pulled a wimpy.
It's look, I don't know. All I can tell you is this whole thing is dumb. But
it's dumb if you have any kind of logic about you at all. I mean, for all the monetary value that is taking place in NCAA football, a burger is what has Jim Harbaugh in hot water.
It's always a grill. There's a grill involved. We'll talk about it. We'll get into it. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. It's a dumb story, but the NCAA is what it is. So we're going to talk about it. We'll get to it a little bit later. All of that coming your way. But before we get to Jordan D. Hill and our top story, we're going to give you yesterday's results, this weekend's schedule, all of it coming right here on The Rundown.
Here's The Rundown.
The Friday Rundown is brought to you by Chip Walters of Exit Realty Bob Lamb and Associates. The voice of the Blue Raiders also wants to be your trusted advisor in real estate. Contact Chip at 615-542-1915 or through his website at choosechip.net. Chip Walters, proud to support youth sports across Middle Tennessee.
Girls basketball action yesterday. Antioch Gun Knowledge Academy's 49-7. It was Innsworth 69, CPA 37. Franklin Road Academy 44-37 winners over John Overton. Loretto down Hardin County 72-32. And Marshall County took care of Culleoka 46-20. It was Rockville 48, Mountain Juliet 34. Middle Tennessee Christian 53-44 winners over Providence Christian. Mount Pleasant down Riverside Christian 48-37, while Rossview down Sycamore 43-35. Cheatham County 59, White House 25, and White House Heritage 31-23 winners over Merrill High.
In boys basketball on Thursday, Antioch defeated Knowledge Academy 60-45. It was Christ Presbyterian 61, Innsworth 60. Wow, barn burner. Montgomery Bell Academy with a 76-45 win over Franklin Road Academy. It was Franklin Classical 65, Lighthouse Christian of Antioch 49, Loretto with a 63-49 win over Hardin County. Marshall County defeated Culleoka 54-48. Mount Juliet 50, Rockville 44. Providence Christian with a 64-48 win over Middle Tennessee Christian. Mount Pleasant 83, Riverside Christian 30. Rossview 101, Sycamore 71. White House, yeah, no doubt. White House with a 69-67 win over Cheatham County. And White House Heritage 59, Merrill High 17.
Women's college basketball action last night. Southern Illinois of Edwardsville down to Tennessee State 76-69, while Tennessee took care of the Lady Dogs from Mississippi State 80-69.
Hey, did you see? I saw somewhere and I couldn't figure out. I couldn't verify it. Supposedly that was the Lady Vols' 500th win at TBA.
Well, I haven't seen that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
At the Glass House, Middle Tennessee State took very good care of UTSA 80-41, while Lipscomb went down to Jacksonville State, played a little free basketball, come home with a win 83-81 in overtime. It was Kennesaw State 66, Austin P 57, Ole Miss down to Vanderbilt 74-53, and Trevecca, it's a big win over Lake Erie 79-47. Cumberland fell to Shawnee State 69-47, and UT Southern fell to Pikeville 65-43.
In men's basketball action on Thursday, it was SIU Edwardsville 81, Tennessee State 72. UTSA with the 75-72 win over Middle Tennessee State. Lipscomb 86. North Alabama 62.
Sorry.
If you beat Dunk City, does that make you Dunk City?
I guess so.
Well, Austin P with the 61-59 win over Florida Gulf Coast at the Dunn Center. Lake Erie with a 82-79 win over Trevecca. Shawnee State 63, Cumberland 55, UT Southern 67, Pikeville 63. And in junior college action, oh, never mind. Disregard.
Keep going.
Keep going. All right. In NBA action, the Grizzlies stay hot with a 123-115 win over the Magic, and the Preds stay hot with a 5-3 win over the Hurricanes. More on that in a second.
Basketball doubleheaders tonight. BGA hosting Webb School at 6 p.m. These are all 6 p.m. starts unless otherwise noted. Centennial is at Brentwood Beach at Clarksville. Clarksville Northwest hosting Dixon County, and Hampshire goes to Collinwood. Columbia Academy is at home against Franklin Road Academy, while Portland goes to Creekwood. Santa Fe is at Culleoka. Carroll Academy is at Curry Ingram. I've never heard of either of those two schools.
Say what?
I've never heard of either of those two schools.
Curry Ingram?
Never heard of them. Anyway, Donaldson Christian is at Davidson Academy. Loretto's down in Alabama to take on Deschler and the Lady Tigers. It's Fayetteville at Eagleville. Friendship Christian, Ezo Harding. Zion Christian's at FC Boyd. Fairview hosting Page. Moore County is at Giles County. Glencliff at home against Valor Collegiate. And Clarksville Academy is at Goodpasture. That's going to be a heck of a ball game.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Boys-wise.
Yeah, get there early for that one. University School of Nashville is at Franklin Grace. Montgomery Central's at Greenbrier. Green Hill hosts Cane Ridge. Waverly travels to Harpeth. Hendersonville hosts Wilson Central. Franklin is at Hillsborough, as we discussed yesterday, with Admirals coach Jason Tiger. Maplewood goes to Hillwood. Hunters Lane hosts Clarksville Northeast. The border battle. Independence taking on visiting Summit. Henry County goes to Kenwood. STEM Academy is at Knowledge Academies. Laverne hosts Blackman. Pearl Cone is at Lead Academy. Liberty Creek hosting White House. Brentwood Academy goes up Old Hickory to, Granny White, to Lipscomb Academy. Joe Burns is at Merrill Hyde. Nashville Christian is at Mount Juliet Christian, and Martin Luther King is at Murfreesboro Central.
They'll cross Old Hickory, though, won't they?
They will cross Old Hickory.
They'll go to Old Hickory. They'll just, not get on
and
it.
keep going. Yes.
All right. Ravenwood is at Nolansville. Columbia Central will be at Oakland Pope Prep, hosting Father Ryan. Kip goes to Republic. Richland at home against Wayne County. Riverdale goes to Shelbyville. Smyrna's at Siegel, and Gallatin's at Springfield. Summertown hosting Lawrence County and a county rival there. Charleston County at home against East Robertson. Westmoreland goes to Watertown. West Creek at home against Sycamore, and Stratford is at Whites Creek tomorrow at 2:30. Middle Tennessee Christian will be at Nashville Christian at 3 o'clock. Nashville Central Christian will be at the University of School in Nashville. At 3 o'clock, Clarksville Christian's at Highland Rim Academy. And at 6 p.m., Zion Christian will be at Academy of God. Tennessee Heat will be at Columbia Academy. Christ Presbyterian will host Brentwood Academy. They're just staying right there. Just, as a matter of fact, they might stay overnight and just on the way back pick up CPA. I don't know. Yeah. And then Creekwood will be at Dixon County. That's a big county rivalry as well.
Girls basketball action this weekend. Tonight at 6, Christian Community is at Clarksville Christian. Tomorrow at 1, Father Ryan is at Harpeth Hall. Campbell, Georgia plays Providence Christian. That's a 3:45 tip-off. At 6, Sycamore is at West Creek. Monsignor Scanlon of New York plays Page at 6:30 tomorrow. Wish I knew where. Franklin Classical is at Valor Collegiate at 8 o'clock. And on Sunday at noon, this is interesting, Christ Church of South Carolina plays Page. Boys games only. 6:30 tonight, Stewart's Creek is at Bradley Central down in Cleveland. On Saturday, Fairview of Alabama plays Lawrence County at 1:30. Ohio County of Kentucky plays West Creek at 4, and at 7, Whites Creek is at Bowling Green, Kentucky.
In women's basketball action tonight, Belmont is at Drake. That's a 6 p.m. tip on ESPN3. Tomorrow, UT Southern will be at Shawnee State at noon, and Cumberland travels to Pikeville at noon. Walsh will be at Trevecca at 1. Also at 1, Tennessee State's at Lindenwood on ESPN Plus. On ESPN Plus as well at 1. Lipscomb is at North Florida, and Stetson at Austin Peay at 3:30. Middle Tennessee women will be at North Texas. On Sunday at Memorial, Tennessee, Vanderbilt, noon, SEC Network. Not going to be pretty for the Lady Commodores, or Commodore women, I'm sorry. I caught myself. I apologize. For the Commodore women, not going to be pretty. Anyway, Oakwood at Fisk. That is conference play at 1 o'clock on Sunday. And Belmont will be at Northern Iowa, home Kurt Warner at 2 o'clock, ESPN Plus.
Men's basketball action this weekend. On Saturday at 11 o'clock on CBS, you can see Vanderbilt at Como against the Missouri Tigers. UT Southern goes to Shawnee State. That's a 2 o'clock start. Also at 2, Cumberland is at Pikeville. Tennessee is at the other Columbia, South Carolina, taking on the Gamecocks. That's a 2:30 tip on the SEC Network. At 3 o'clock, Walsh is at Trevecca. At 3:30, Tennessee State's men are at Lindenwood. That's on ESPN Plus. Also on ESPN Plus at 4, Missouri State is at Belmont. Lipscomb is at Jacksonville. 4:30 on ESPN Plus, you've got Central Arkansas at Austin Peay. And at 5 on ESPN Plus, Middle Tennessee State hosts the Mean Green of North Texas. Junior college action, Saturday 1:30, Tennessee Valley Prep comes to the Webb, taking on the Chargers of Columbia State. And at 3 o'clock on Sunday, Oakwood is at Fisk.
All right. NBA action Sunday, Jazz at Grizzlies, 5 p.m. on Bally Sports Southeast. Tonight, Preds at Capitol, 6 p.m. puck drop on Bally Sports South. And tomorrow, Titans are at the Jaguars at the 7 p.m. kick on ESPN. That is going to do it for today's rundown. Mo, I am seeing Atlanta, Georgia is where Page will be taking on the team from
Monsignor Scanlon of New York.
Yes, they'll be at the Sewanee Sports Academy just outside of Atlanta.
Oh, okay. That's also then where they will be playing Christ Church of South Carolina at 12 noon on Sunday.
That is correct.
I wonder if those times are Central or Eastern.
That's a good question. I mean, if you're there, get there an hour early just in case.
Just cover yourself. Yep. If you're headed that way.
Oh,
I'm thinking if you're headed that way, you probably know when.
You probably know what time they're playing. That's right. Well, top story today comes from last night's Predators' big-time win for Nashville, a 5-3 victory for the Preds at Carolina. And UC Soros, the freshly minted all-star UC Soros, announced last night during the game, by the way.
In the midst of.
In the midst of the game because, well,
if he hadn't earned it before the game, he probably earned it during the game.
Yeah, they weren't going to waste any time waiting for him to break the NHL record for saves in a game. Unfortunately, he did not. He came up one save short from tying the record.
I'm not sure if it's unfortunate or not.
Well, yeah, no, the Preds win because of it.
Yeah.
But UC Soros saved 64 shots in a 5-3 Preds win, which is the second all-time in the NHL and, of course, a Preds record.
Of course. Meanwhile, I want to ask you, does this validate the run that the Predators have been on here of late, Chris? Because yesterday you kind of had some disparaging comments to make about Nashville's hockey team. Justin, remind him.
Preds are over at Carolina.
The hot Preds.
Yeah, but they've played a bunch of 22nd and worst defenses in the league teams. So.
But they beat them.
Yes. Preds are mid, but better to be mid and win the games you're supposed to win.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be worse. That's what we're saying. Yeah. But they are at Carolina. We'll see how hot they are after this one. Hurricanes hosting at 6 o'clock on Valley Sports South. I don't have high hopes. 56 points do the Carolina Hurricanes have. Now, listen, the fact that they scored 4 goals, I don't give them the fifth one. It was the empty netter. They scored 4 goals against the Hurricanes. Now, I don't know if this was a game 2 of a set. I don't know if the Hurricanes were playing their top goalie or not. I don't care.
Nor should you.
But
all they can beat is who's on the ice.
The fact that they scored 4 goals, I wonder how much of an impact the confidence that they had going in after scoring 6 and 5 and, over those last few, just finding the net kind of helps you keep finding the net, doesn't it?
I would think that it gets to be a little bit contagious.
You have to, looking at this, you'd have to say it is, right?
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out.
They scored 6, 4, 6 in the last 3.
This is the second straight loss for the Hurricanes. They lost 5-3 on Tuesday at the Rangers. So this wasn't the second of a back-to-back, but it was the second in 3 nights.
Yeah, it was usually with a day off, though, even with a travel day, I don't know.
They were coming home. So
yeah, I don't know who
was in net. But again, like you said, it doesn't really matter.
Ketchkoff is their number 1 guy. It was
Ranta.
Ketchkoff was in last night.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong game.
So, but here's the thing. This is so wild, man. UC Soros is a freaking magician.
Mm-hmm.
64 goals or 64 saves, 67 shots on goal. Do you know how many shots on goal the Predators had?
Not 67.
Do you want to take a guess?
I'm going to say they had more than half.
24.
24 shots.
24.
Wow. And 5 goals. Well, 4 goals.
Yeah, he only allowed 4 goals.
Yeah.
That's insane.
That's pretty efficient.
That is you're scoring 17% of the time.
17%
of the time you shoot it, you score. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good, but I'm not sure you can live on that.
No, you can't.
I don't think you want to get 24 shots a night.
This was an anomaly. The Preds are not going to win this game 90
Very
times
many
out of
times.
100.
Yeah.
And, great for them. Glad they did. Don't get me wrong. It's good. It's good to find the net, because when you do, you get a little confidence. Now tonight they're probably going to struggle because UC's not going to be in goal.
Well, it's the third game in 4 nights now.
Yeah, so they're gonna have a tough time tonight, more than likely. I mean, and it's the Capitals. Alex Ovechkin's pretty darn good. Don't know if you've heard.
Rumor has it.
So I won't be.
You have low hopes.
I have low hopes. We're just gonna keep that going. Hope it continues. We'll see what happens, man. I don't know. Preds are only a 1.5 goal underdog. So
they're on the upside 500 with this recent little surge here. So that's a good thing. That's a good place to be, considering the start they got off to.
But still way behind, unfortunately.
Well,
12 points behind division leading Dallas.
It's a long season.
They're about halfway done. Pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
They're 37 games of an 82 game season.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, look, if you can find a way to get to the next, if you can find a way to just to get to the playoffs, we've all seen this team go to the Stanley Cup as an 8 seed. So
get to the playoffs and anything can happen.
That's right. So that's what the
seems to be the cry in this town.
Yeah. So anyway, we need to take a break. When we come back, Jordan D. Hill will join us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. Stick around. Be right back after this.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone & Joint. On this Friday edition, as we are just ahead of the college football playoff national championship game on Monday night. And we talked yesterday with David Ubben a little bit about TCU. Today we will talk a little Georgia with Dogs 24/7 writer Jordan Davis Hill. Jordan, what's up, man?
Hey guys, just getting settled in here in LA. It's been a busy couple days as far as travel, but gonna kind of settle in before the calm, before the storm on Monday night.
Are you jet lagged?
Not terribly, which I slept. I had a layover, and then my second flight, I pretty much slept the whole flight. So I'm feeling really good, getting ready a few days for the game.
Awesome. So you're all ready for Monday then, and I guess Georgia's ready for Monday as well. I asked the question. I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but Kirby obviously at the podium following that win over Ohio State kind of had some pointed remarks for his Heisman Trophy finalist starting quarterback, Stetson Bennett the fourth. And, Chris kind of theorized that maybe that's the type coaching that Stetson needs. Having observed that relationship over the past couple of years, do you find that to be the case, or was Kirby particularly upset with Stetson's play against Ohio State?
I think it's a situation where you could kind of tell Kirby was a little bit frazzled just because of how that game turned out. I mean, they're a field goal away from losing it, and some of the issues were offensively, missed opportunities, a really bad interception thrown by Stetson. I think you could just kind of see that he was a little bit flustered after that game, but just based on what Stetson said since then, and just sort of the relationship between the two, I don't think that was necessarily anything new for Stetson. I think he has seen that's sort of how Kirby Smart likes to motivate these guys, that he wants them chasing perfection. And, Stetson, I think to his credit, the last few days we talked to him, I think that was on Tuesday, just on a teleconference, and he talked about we have to be better. I mean, that there were mistakes made, and he pointed to himself, mistakes he made that they can't afford to have going forward. So it was a little bit jarring to see sort of how Kirby reacted after that game, but I think you saw that, just being a natural reaction to how that game played out. And again, I don't think it was anything new for Stetson.
I'm interested because, when I watch this team play, I mean, Stetson Bennett threw a bad interception, but he didn't give up 40-plus points. Maybe he's not the one to be yelled at after a game like that, especially considering, he also didn't give up 40 yards on the final drive that gave him a chance to kick a field goal. Is there cause for concern for this Georgia defense against an offense that can be as dynamic as TCU?
I think you have to keep in mind the offense they just played. I mean, I think, Ohio State has an argument for one of the best offenses, and I think they did have, the deepest receiving core, and the way those guys played. And again, it's hypothetical, and you can't really say one way or the other, but I do think that game plays out differently if Marvin Harrison Jr. doesn't get hurt. And, I think that Georgia had its issues keeping those guys covered, and it was sort of a two-prong issue. Had trouble rushing the passer, and you give a guy like C.J. Stroud a whole lot of time to play and to look downfield and find a guy open. I think that was all that he needed to make some big plays. And I think it was a situation where they weren't able to get to him, and you kind of had the secondary members trying to play catch up. I think that they do have to understand that there is, it's a TCU offense that can make plays. Max Duggan's a little bit more of a concentrated runner, I'd say, compared to C.J. Stroud, even though C.J., I think, proved a lot of people wrong in that game, showing he was willing to run. I think it's a situation where, that they got really lucky, frankly, that they were able to withstand some of those big plays from Ohio State. And I do think that they've had time to kind of regroup and get ready for this big game on Monday.
How much different will the challenges TCU provides for Georgia be from what they faced against Ohio State, do you think?
I think it's something that's going to be worth watching. And to me, the thing, when you go back and you look at the Fiesta Bowl, the thing that struck me was just that, I really thought going into that game that Michigan was just going to outman TCU, that they were going to be more physical and they were going to be able to kind of push them around. And I thought it might be a pretty competitive game, but in the end, I thought Michigan would be able to win it. And, props to TCU for how they played. Defensively, I mean, they were all over Michigan. I thought that was really impressive. So, I'm really intrigued. A lot of talk about the fact that, TCU is such a big underdog. I think the last I saw it was like 13 points. And, this is a team that's been told it couldn't all year. And it's been a team that what really strikes me and what I'm interested in seeing Monday night is if TCU falls behind, how both teams react, because TCU's been so good at coming from behind this year. So I think it makes for a really interesting game. I know a lot of people have talked about the fact that, some people feel like Georgia can just name the score in this game. And I don't necessarily think that's the case. I think it's going to be a really competitive game. And I think that, again, if Georgia does get up on TCU, that's not something that TCU hasn't seen before.
And that's a little dangerous scenario there, as you mentioned. Jordan D. Hill with Dogs 24/7. Is that it? Is that it? Dogs 24/7. Joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Like you said, this is a team that has been behind and has battled back. Georgia, not necessarily the case. I mean, you talk about if TCU gets down, what happens if Georgia gets down?
The one thing I will say is that you did kind of get a glimpse of that against Ohio State. I mean, they were down 14, and there's a situation too. And I'll admit to this: Georgia kicks a field goal with like probably 10 minutes left in that game to make an 11-point game, and I'm sort of sitting there going, "What are you doing? Like, you have not been able to stop Ohio State." It kind of felt like you were sort of giving up, waving the white flag, and say, "Well, we're going to take these 3 points rather than gamble." And credit to Kirby Smart. He had a lot of confidence in his defense to get the stops they needed, and they got them. That game, and then you go back into the regular season, the game that they came the closest to losing was to Missouri. And, I mean, they had practically no margin for error in that fourth quarter, the way things played out. I think this is a team, especially, again, going back to that Peach Bowl, they have shown that they don't panic. And, we never heard any talk about them panicking after that game, and certainly didn't see that on the sidelines, what you got to see on TV. I think it was a team that understood the opponent they were playing and knew that Ohio State was really dangerous, particularly on offense. And they, went blow for blow with them, and Georgia got behind. And then, lo and behold, they score 18 points in that fourth quarter. So to me, that was a really big proving ground, especially going into this game. If they were to fall behind, didn't sense any kind of panic in that situation in the semifinals. And I think that has to set those guys up well if that's the case again on Monday night.
For Georgia, it seems like, that going back to back has been on their minds. You've heard it a few times, but, is that a pressure that they're not necessarily used to, or is this, just go out there, play, and whatever happens for them?
Well, I think the one thing that really benefits this team, and it's really been a talking point for Kirby Smart since media days, he harped on the fact he wasn't worried about those guys in terms of being worried about going back to back, because a lot of those guys that start on this team were not playing as significant roles on the 2021 team. And you got exceptions like Stetson Bennett, like Ladd McConkey, Brock Bowers, and some of the guys on defense, but they were replacing a ton of really productive guys from that 2021 team. They have 15 guys drafted in last April's draft. And Kirby talked about, you don't really have to worry about keeping these guys in line and keeping these guys in check, because, a lot of these guys are playing much bigger roles this time around. And, I think that mindset is sort of what the players took on, that they, a lot of those guys hadn't earned the idea that, they were defending anything because they hadn't won anything yet. So I think that has benefited them. The thing that Kirby talked about all summer was that we're talented, but we're inexperienced. We're talented, but we're inexperienced. And you sort of expected to see, some growing pains early on, but then week one, they go out and only give up 3 points against Oregon. There have been ups and downs. And like we said, I think the defense has shown itself really vulnerable against the pass and the SEC championship game, and very much so in the Peach Bowl. But I think it's a team that understood that the team before it was pretty different than this year's team, and that they had to go out and earn what they were going to get. And to this point, they've passed every test.
Jordan, we don't want to look past Monday. Obviously, I mean, it's going to be a great ball game with TCU and Georgia out there at SoFi. But when we spoke with David Ubben of The Athletic yesterday, he mentioned that should Georgia come out of this game victorious, we might be looking at a three-peat with this program. What do you see out of this team, this program right now that makes you feel like, or do you feel like this is a team that could play for a championship again next year?
I think there's the potential, and I think it starts with their schedule in 2023. I mean, quite frankly, it's not a very tough schedule across the board, and part of that is sort of due to the SEC expanding. They were going to play Oklahoma next year. That game winds up being taken off the schedule and replaced with Ball State, so obviously a much easier opponent. But yeah, and their SEC schedule is not incredibly hard. I mean, you got like at Auburn, at Tennessee, and at Vanderbilt. You get Ole Miss, but I believe that game is in Athens. So it sets up well. I mean, I think the biggest question, and I already know it's going to be talked to death in the offseason, is going to be quarterback. It seems like Carson Beck will be the starter, but it's going to be a competition. He'll have Brock Vandagriff. He'll have Gunnar Stockton as well fighting for that job. And, for the first time in what seems like a decade, they don't have Stetson Bennett. Stetson will move on. He somehow has finally run out of eligibility. And it's going to be a big question mark. No matter who wins that job, there's going to be growing pains. Whoever it is, unless they go into the portal, which I'm not anticipating they do, I think it'll be one of the three guys that's already on the roster. They're going to be in a whole new world, playing a bigger role. And it's going to be ugly sometimes. That's just sort of the nature of learning how to play quarterback in the SEC. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're set up well. They got several young guys, especially on defense, that can be counted on. Smile London, Jamal Dumas-Johnson, Malachi Starks. They're going to have to really beef things up on the defensive line once they lose Jalen Carter to the NFL. But you still have Brock Bowers on offense. You've got two really good receivers coming in from the SEC, and Ra Thomas from Mississippi State and Dominic Lovett from Missouri. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think it's out of the question to talk about the potential to win 3 in a row. But, again, to me, it all lies on who wins that quarterback battle and just how quickly they can grow into that role.
He saved himself some coin there by not saying the word because Pat Riley was coming. Pat Riley was revving ready to go, but he didn't say it.
Yeah,
so good job there, Jordan.
We got no copyright infringement there. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Jordan D. Hill here with us on Main Street Sports today, talking about Georgia TCU. Hey, Jordan, you're not going to be you and nobody else is going to be tailgating at SoFi this weekend. How are Georgia fans taking that?
Not well, but it's one of those situations. I think if they wind up being able to win the title, then all will be forgiven for the lack of barbecue and a few cold ones out there in the parking lot.
Wow,
this is going to be an interesting portion of the future discussions. Of
without question, it is. Sandra Golden, a Atlanta sports personality, I guess, tweeted something out earlier today that's got to be a requirement going forward.
I would think so.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But I guess Georgia fans probably kind of saved themselves some headache of not being able to tailgate as well. So
yeah, there will be at least
tough. It's gonna be tough getting those grills from Georgia out to LA anyway. So.
Maybe so. Yeah. Jordan, we appreciate your time as always, man. Thank you so much.
Absolutely enjoyed it, you guys.
Have a good one. It's got to be going forward. There's going to have to be a discussion about certain aspects
of the college football experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you can't host RVs, if you can't, especially if the SEC is going to be involved.
Yeah.
Because we know we got RV. it's what I told Justin yesterday. It's one of the big reasons Hoover has kept the SEC baseball tournament as long as it has is because they literally built an RV parking lot for LSU fans. I mean, if you don't have somewhere to park RVs, you don't have somewhere to tailgate, you don't get a championship game.
Not in this league.
I mean, that's got to be something that especially with expansion, that they've got to talk about.
Yeah, that's it'll be interesting to keep an eye on that because I imagine that
Maybe interesting to keep an eye on here in Nashville.
I would imagine a number of people were unaware of that.
Oh, nobody was aware that until it came out on the.
How does that even come up? I mean, you just assume that you can tailgate.
I mean, which, as Justin mentioned, they've not had to deal with it with the Rams and the Chargers. They don't have fans to tailgate, and even if they do, there's only like 5 of them out there. So it's kind of like dealing with UAB football. There's so few of them trying to tailgate, you just let them.
This is interesting. There's an article in the LA Times. Take it for what it's worth, particularly if you're a Braves fan. No tailgating at national championship game. Blame the CFP, not SoFi or California.
Okay.
I'm scrolling down into this. As it turns out, our has been misdirected without gathering all the facts. Neither California nor Los Angeles nor Inglewood nor SoFi Stadium is to blame for this unconscionable affront to Southern football culture. It's the Irving, Texas-based college football playoffs decision to ban tailgating at its premier event, the same stance it took at last year's game in Indianapolis, the year before that in Miami, and the prior years in New Orleans. So,
sounds like the CFP doesn't want to pay the insurance premium.
Fans are welcome to bring their coolers and enjoy themselves in their parking spaces at SoFi Stadium on Monday night for the CFP National Championship, friend of the show Bill Hancock said in a statement released to the Times. In addition, we are hosting the All-State Championship tailgate from 10 to 4 in the SoFi parking lot, free event that is open to all ticket holders. We encourage everyone to come out early to enjoy all the activities, but for us to operate the parking operations efficiently on game day, we are not able to allow fans to set up tents and grills in the drive aisles or adjacent parking spaces because we have limited on-site parking at SoFi Stadium and want to ensure everyone has a safe and timely arrival for the game.
Well, I don't know of anywhere that's not true. There aren't a lot of places out there who are allowing tailgates in their parking lots. There are specific areas to tailgate. Like you can buy a tailgate parking spot in a different area. Mm. So I get that.
Yeah.
And LA probably doesn't have a lot of space for that. But in New Orleans, my guess is there was probably somewhere they could tailgate.
Georgia fans traveled to Indianapolis for last year's CFP title game against Alabama, but they probably did not notice the no tailgating rule because temperatures were in the single digits. Who could fault them for assuming the weather in Southern California would be ripe for pregame revelry?
Okay. So I guess that's going to be a discussion from now on going forward, I guarantee you.
But is it going to be a discussion? I mean, if the CFP is saying no tailgating, then what are you discussing and who are you discussing it with?
I think that's got to be a discussion with the college football playoff, right? I mean, obviously they're going to have – it's not like you can overthrow them.
No. So,
I don't know.
But it is nice. I mean, this is – a worthwhile story from the LA Times for a change.
How about that?
As opposed to their Dodgers Braves coverage. Yeah. I mean, it's
I'm
okay
surprised they didn't throw a Waffle House reference in there.
Bill Platsky did not write this.
Well, there you go. That's why.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. When we come back, NFL discussion. They have officially canceled the bill.
This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. She's on Thinking Out Loud, presented by Regions, and Out of Pocket with Alyssa Lang. It is, in fact, Alyssa Lang.
I'm a little nervous. I'm going to lower the bar for guests now.
Oh, no.
Like, apologies in advance. It sounds like
SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey.
You got that radio voice.
I do.
It's a good sound.
Thanks for radio, too.
As do we. And then here's the other thing. You guys, you're spot on with the name. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. Everybody wants to be on Main Street. So,
And we reach every Main Street in Middle Tennessee, Coach?
yeah, that's it. So
Perfect.
when you are on Main Street and you are moving
You got to love it.
like you're moving, I was impressed.
I'm glad someone...
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. That's right. Everybody wants to be on Main Street, Mo.
And if Coach Cut says it's so, it's so.
That's right. Right after that, he did say he would recruit me based on my footwork. So I'm saying, potentially, anyway.
I'd be interested to know. Maybe that's why he's not coaching anymore.
Just his judgment,
His
clearly
talent evaluation has
diminished over
greatly.
the years. No question there. Oh man, well, that's right, Justin. Undrafted free agent, baby. I'm wearing my jersey to the game just in case.
UDFA. There you go.
The NFL has officially canceled the Bills and Bengals. What does that mean for the playoffs? Well, we're going to tell you as it is time for Captain Chaos and his patented if-then statements. Well, you knew that
You're never going to be very far from if-thens, no matter what's going on.
I'm not. You can guarantee that I'm going to be close by if there's an if-then statement to be had. Essentially, the AFC Championship game could be played at a neutral site. Now, what is the neutral site? I guess that depends on who's in it.
I would guess. And the three options that would require neutral sites would be Chiefs, Bengals, Bills, right?
Yes.
So I'm thinking Indy. Regardless.
That was my first thought because it's indoors.
Mm-hmm.
It'd
be centrally located for all three of those. So
right.
You could go ahead and start making preparations. Clearly, Indy's not in the playoffs.
So, well, and that may be a problem.
How so?
I mean, a good thing is they have turf, but I guess, the NFL is going to pay whoever, but you've got to kind of keep it up for the next 3 weeks.
I would not anticipate that being a problem. I think the bigger problem would be making sure that the date is available.
I'm sure, which the Colts may not have reserved the date ahead of time. I don't know.
Or they may have released it.
At some point.
No, y'all go ahead. We ain't going to need it.
We're not going to need it. Yeah, so I guess that's possible. But, playing Kansas City, Cincinnati, or Buffalo indoors.
That time of year.
I want that really.
And all three of those are outdoor teams,
right? They
so
all
to
play
speak.
Outdoors, so it would be.
Oh, that could be a track meet.
Yeah, it would be interesting to watch.
Buffalo and Kansas City indoors.
Buffalo and Cincinnati indoors.
Cincinnati and Kansas City indoors.
I mean,
when you think about those quarterbacks and those receiving cores in particular, in a climate-controlled environment that time of year, I'd be interested to see what Vegas's reaction to that matchup indoors would be.
Oh, that's a good question. Let me see here. Ian Rappaport at Rap Sheet had a really interesting graphic posted earlier that I tried to copy and put it on our slideshow. Did not work. Let's see here. Basically, what it says is that the top 3 seeds, if Kansas City wins, no matter what happens, they're the 1 seed. Kansas City beats Las Vegas, they're the 1 seed. If somehow Kansas City were to lose to Vegas and Buffalo were to win, no matter what, Buffalo would be the 1 seed. If Buffalo lost and Vegas won and Cincinnati was to win, Cincinnati would actually be the 2 seed and Buffalo would go to the 3. Now, in the event that Kansas City and Cincinnati, if Kansas City and Cincinnati play, the only way that it would be a neutral site game is if that last scenario happens, if Cincinnati was the 2 seed.
Right. And Kansas City's the 1.
Right. Otherwise, if Buffalo's the 1 seed, because of that Kansas City loss, Buffalo would still host no matter what. So basically, this is if Kansas.
So Cincinnati cannot host under any circumstance.
No.
Because Cincinnati can only be the 2 or the 3.
Correct. The only way that it happens is if Kansas City is the 1 seed. If Kansas City is the 1 seed, it's the only way that they would not be neutral site is if New England beat Buffalo and Cincinnati beat Baltimore. That's it. So if Kansas City and Buffalo both win, it's a neutral site no matter what. It's interesting. I think this is a good way to do it, but you mentioned earlier, you said, when I said they made up rules, and you said, well, they don't have rules. They actually do. If a game is canceled, a team standing in its own division or in its conference shall be determined on the basis of its final record. When necessary, playoff tiebreakers shall be calculated according to per game average for all teams, meaning winning percentage. And if it goes by total points, then it would be points per game rather than total points allowed, etc. So they do have
something in place. This is quite the graphic here, by the way. The neutral site scenarios.
Yeah, Justin, if you keep going down on Ian Rappaport, you'll see some colored graphics there. You can actually you can see what we're looking at here. It's, I don't hate the idea of the neutral site. I don't either. I think it's better than pushing and just finishing that one game like Army Navy in next week or something, being the only game available.
Well, I think also
there it is.
I think also it continues to show respect for the situation that got us to this point. And speaking of, we've gotten some really encouraging news regarding Damar Hamlin here over the last 8 hours, I guess. The breathing tube has been removed. He actually spoke via FaceTime with his Bills teammates, and so I
is aware that the game
was not played.
Not in.
Yeah. So yeah, a lot of encouragement in terms of his progress there, and that's great to see.
I think it would be a lot easier for the NFL if one of these middle scenarios happened and either Kansas City or Buffalo lost.
Oh yeah.
That would make things a lot easier for.
Yeah, so that they don't have to go to that neutral site situation. Yeah, that. And now, which loss do you think is more likely? Buffalo losing to New England or Kansas City losing to Vegas with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback?
Hell, Titans nearly beat Kansas City with Malik Willis at quarterback, so I'm not going to hold my breath on that one.
Yeah, but eventually Patrick Mahomes was Patrick Mahomes.
And the officials were the officials. Third time's a charm.
Now it is at Vegas.
It is at Vegas, but I think New England beating Buffalo there's a better chance of that happening.
For some reason, I tend to agree with you.
And Buffalo can only be the 1 seed if it wins. If it loses, it doesn't matter. No matter what. Even if Kansas City loses, if Buffalo loses, then Kansas City is the 1 seed. So
you're right.
The point there stands.
Yeah, so they have a 75% chance basically of being the number 1 seed.
Yes. The only way they're not is they lose and Buffalo wins. Then Buffalo is the 1 seed, and that's it. So anyway,
it's very fascinating.
It is a fascinating scenario, no question. And I'm very much looking forward to this weekend for a couple of reasons. One, you've got the AFC South Championship game and
on Saturday night.
On Saturday night at 7 o'clock.
Should be Sunday night.
Well, there's another game that matters. That is the Sunday night game, I guess.
But there are scenarios that would make that game not matter as much. Nothing changes. There are no other games that impact
this one.
Tennessee, Jacksonville.
Right.
Winner goes, loser's done, regardless of what happens in any of the other 15 games.
I wonder if there's ever been a situation. I'm sure there has when the NFC East was so bad a couple of years ago. I wonder if there's ever if that situation that the NFC East was in was the winner in and the loser a top 10 draft pick.
That I don't know. You would think, as bad as they were,
they were so bad.
Yeah, all of them.
I mean, the Cowboys went to the playoffs and they were like 6-10.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was crazy. This is either way positive for the Titans. Now, whether you want them to win or lose, could go either way. That's up to you. Mm-hmm. I personally think it's a win-win either way.
I think that's the best way to look at it, that it is a win-win either way. I mean, the worst case scenario is that you get a top 10 draft pick.
Darn.
That's a nice, lovely parting gifts, as they would say on game shows.
It's much different than, losing and then maybe you're the 7-seed wild card and you're screwed no matter what.
All right.
You got to go to the 2 seed. And all that.
So at least if the Titans win, they are going to be a top 4 seed and they're going to host a game.
Right. And if they lose, they ain't got to worry about it.
Yep.
Get ready for the draft. Go hire you a general manager, whoever that may be.
Go hire you a general manager and then get ready for the draft. And hopefully go hire you an offensive coordinator.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah. Teresa Walker standing by. She'll come join us on the other side of the break. So stick around here. Main Street Sports Today is presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll be right back after.
This is Chris Yow with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, 3-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best-looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
How you doing? I like the carries, man. Yeah, a little drip for Thursday.
So Kevin, it's taken us a while. The Pro Football Writers in America have been giving out good guy awards, and last year we've been a little slow. This is our first, and we had to name it after the franchise leader in rushing, a guy who talked after losses in Memphis, the Super Bowl loss, the big win in Baltimore, and was available all the time. A lot like a certain other gentleman, particularly you. And so for our inaugural Good Guy Award, named after Eddie George, for talking and being helpful to the media, being available, and helping us do our job of communicating your stories to the people and the people who support the Tennessee Titans. We want to say thank you, and you're the first to win this one.
That's awesome.
Unanimous.
Thank you.
And now this one we're going to keep here in the facility and add. But this one that Eddie's got, you get to take that one home.
Yeah, I want this one. Yeah. Here you go, brother. Oh, appreciate it, Eddie. Thank you. So I guess I got to talk, huh?
Yeah, just a little.
No comment. This is awesome, obviously, to be the first inaugural good guy. It's a blessing. Honestly, man, I just try to do the things that my mom taught me, which is show great character, always be humble, and regardless if you're going through good times or bad times, be respectful to others, be respectful to the media, and that's just what I try to do. So it's a blessing, it's an honor to get this award, especially the legend Eddie George here. So it's got to be something big time. So like I said, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid Tennessee Bar and Joint. That was Teresa Walker handing Kevin Byard the Good Guy Award. Pretty cool. How cool was that, T?
It was very cool because we Taylor Lewan was in the locker room and saying, hey, what about me? I could have maybe won this, and it's like we've been trying to get this together, but there's been a pandemic to deal with the last 3 years, and with testing, and we talked about it at the beginning of the previous 2 seasons, and then all of a sudden, how it is in football season, guys. Suddenly it's like it's Christmas time. Where did this season go? So that was part of the problem. We did want to try to do this sooner, and I will give credit. Paul Kaharski is going to be he was doing a piece on former players who coulda won this award had we started it before. At this moment we just had our our Nashville chapter as such is just entered. This was its the 5th season, maybe 2, 4. Yeah, we just had elections this in training camp, so I'm the 3rd time president of that group. So this was our 5th season. So maybe the pandemic isn't completely an excuse, but we all have a lot on our plate during the football season, and it was something that I wish we had gotten this done sooner, because yes, there are many, many great Titans who were what we call in this business go-to guys. The award is the Good Guy Award, right? And it's not because they're nice to us; it's that they talk. And they're available after losses, after wins. As you heard me say, Eddie George talked after games in Memphis when there were 16,000 people in the stands. And a lot of the questions were, Eddie, how is it playing an NFL game when you can literally hear people talking in the stands? To, after that wild card win in Baltimore, being available when people need to talk to you about for a story on a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, and things like that. And we understand that they get tired of talking to us, for fans out there, it's not that it's, for us, it's not our egos. We're the conduit between you and them. And when they talk to us, it helps us tell better stories. It helps us understand what they're thinking, what they're seeing, what they're dealing with, and it makes those stories better and help. We're that conduit, okay, between them. And social media has made it easier than ever for fans to connect to players, but we still can help tell a broader story. So that's why the PFWA had been pushing us local chapters to get our Good Guy Awards going. So, and when we talked about getting ours going, it's like, Eddie George was kind of a unanimous pick to be, to name it in his honor because of the times that he would talk. Now, I would say the late Steve McNair, he always talked as well. The only thing is we'd have to wait until he got done with treatment. Sometimes those waits, we were sitting around the locker room 30, 40 minutes after guys had gone on to other things, waiting for Steve to come talk. But, I say thank you again. When I texted Eddie and told him that we were naming the award in his honor, and could he come and help us present this first one, the immediate answer was yes. So yet still, Eddie George,
still a good guy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, a true pro, as we like to say. So, and for Kevin Byard, I mean, he's the kind of guy that he has that group around him and he's answering questions, and that group leaves, and then maybe somebody was over at another guy and they come over and 3 or 4 more people join in. And, sometimes he's standing there talking for 10 minutes, 15, a big chunk of the locker room period. He is talking to media, helping us do our jobs. So, there's a reason why MTSU inducted him into their Hall of Fame and retired his jersey. I think one of those. I know they retired his jersey this year, second guy ever, apparently. And I mean, he is a guy, and he retweeted my picture of him holding both of the awards yesterday. And he pointed out his mom, his late mother, who God rest her, passed last summer, taught him the golden rule: be nice to each other, be respectful. And, we try to be respectful in the locker room. So, that's why his name is on there for the first ever Titan to be honored. And yeah, I'll just say this, guys, I'm used to asking the questions. So having to put together words like that, some people might think, especially in my own family, that I am a good talker and that I never shut up. But, doing that with all those cameras there, it's not as easy as I made it look. So when I listen to myself, it's like, okay, I wasn't that bad.
Teresa, and not to get into the weeds of this particular thing, but when there's an award involved, people want to win the award. So this might help facilitate some
promote
the idea of talking to media. So this is smart. See, y'all know what you're doing.
They're playing chess. They playing chess when other folks are playing checkers.
That's right.
Yeah.
There is that hope, in the back of the picture that I shared, there's Joshua Kalu back there. And, I think Kevin Byard actually said, hey, talk to the media. They might give you an award. And I retweeted that because it's like, yes, I mean, help us help you is the whole thing here. It help me help you. And, that's the thing, even if Elon Musk expands the character limit on Twitter, sometimes some people need ghostwriters. Well, we can help you tell your story. And that's why, so absolutely, we're hoping that this pays off. And that's a locker room with a lot of young players. And, you don't maybe get a lot of experience coming up through high school and college talking, on a regular basis to reporters. So we're absolutely hoping that this does have an effect, that, showing our appreciation of the, taking that time and being available and telling us what you see. I mean, I've gone up to Kevin for stories that I'm working on for the Super Bowl, for Super Bowl week. And, some guys get it. Some guys are in a hurry. Some guys have their routines, but we absolutely, the last time I checked, I had almost 200,000 views of that picture because, well, it helped that Kevin Byard quote tweeted it. So I'm very grateful.
Teresa Walker of the Associated Press joining us here on Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. It's been particularly dicey, I guess, getting folks in that locker room to talk over the past few weeks as the Titans have been in the throes of a 6-game losing streak going into tomorrow night's pivotal contest against Jacksonville. And what's been crazy is for everything that has taken place, everything that the Titans want to do is still right in front of them.
Absolutely. I mean, they went from having like 98% chance of making the playoffs when they were 7-3, and now this skid has them at 7-9. And it just won't matter if they win tomorrow night. They will be hosting a wild card game next weekend in Nashville if they win on Saturday night. And, for the people that, the Dallas game, when it was 17-13, you're thinking, hey, wow, this is maybe. And then, the Dallas Cowboys are pretty good. I mean, they're vying for the number 1 seed in the NFC and the NFC East title. So, that was impressive. But the fact of the matter is what was most important was 7 starters, and it would have been more except for 3 being put on IR before the game: Ryan Tannehill, Bud Dupree, Zach Cunningham. So this is a team with 23 players on IR as we speak. And, Zach Cunningham and Elijah Molden were 2 who'd been on there, came back, and then went back on. So
that's nearly half an active roster, a game day roster.
We could start the people on the injured list.
Literally.
We could
almost, yes.
You could come up with a starting
22.
Now, and now here's the benefits. You've got those guys rested. Danico Autry did not play in the Jacksonville game earlier this year. Derrick Henry, who, Yulee, he's a Yulee, Florida native, which isn't that far from Jacksonville. He usually has a good handful of people there supporting him in Jacksonville. He has he's averaging 105 yards per game against the Jacksonville Jaguars in 12 games. He had 96 yards by the first quarter of that last game. The thing that did them in here against the Jaguars were 4 turnovers turned into 20 points. So if the Titans can hold on to the ball, Josh Dobbs, literal rocket scientist, who's done internships with NASA through the NFLPA, he's now had a full week of practice as the starter, as opposed to a week ago when it was 2 practices for a team that is so banged up that, they were almost literal glorified walkthroughs. And they were able to do a little bit more this week because of the rest that guys got last week. They had the long weekend. So and let's not forget, Jacksonville probably wishes this game was Sunday night instead of Saturday night because they played on Sunday. So a road game in Houston. So they had to play Sunday, get back home. So it's a shorter week for them against a rested Titans team. Now, while the Jaguars have a lot of momentum, they haven't lost since they, visited Nashville. I'm going to take a rested Derrick Henry, who's still a little ticked at himself over those 2 turnovers that he had. One just popping right instead of out of bounds, it goes into the hands of Josh Allen. And trust me, you could see him as we were walking off the field Wednesday. He was working with Tony Dews over there on stiff arming and ball security and things like that. And he knows that guys are coming in from behind trying to rip that ball out. So I expect a very determined Derrick Henry. We've got a Josh Dobbs who's going to, yes, Treylon Burks, we're a little questioning how he's going to be with the groin that kept him kind of limited. They didn't practice him at all yesterday, after he aggravated it on Wednesday. And so, but hey, if they don't win tomorrow night, that's okay. He's got the whole offseason to heal up. So I personally am expecting Treylon Burks, barring a setback between now and kickoff, to be available. And Todd Downing, yes, I've heard from tons of people on Twitter. Yes, they know that they need to get the ball to the hands of their playmakers. And right now, Chig Okonkwo and Treylon Burks, their 2 rookies, are high on that list. So, you saw that toe tapping sideline catch by Burks. We know the speed of Chigakonkwo. You've got, potentially you've got Hooker and Christian Fulton back on defense, along with Autry, and arrested Jeff Simmons. They didn't get a single sack in that game against the Jacksonville Jaguars in the last time. Gave up 4. Now, here's one key with Josh Dobbs. He's new to this offense, but there's some, spillover from what he learned in Cleveland when he was there with Kevin Stefanski. So what we saw against the Cowboys on a couple of days of walkthroughs essentially was the ability to get the ball out fast and get the ball down the field. And that is very important.
Teresa, for all of the talk about the Titans injury list, there's a certain individual on the Jaguars Titan list, injured list, excuse me.
They might as well start calling it the Titan list.
Yeah, there you
Just
go.
rename it the Titan list.
Do you think there's any possibility that Trevor Lawrence doesn't play in this ball game?
Let's put it this way. I'd be stunned if he isn't on the field. I mean, seriously, he was on the report with an injured toe and limited, et cetera, the first couple of days when the last time these teams met. So no, I am expecting Trevor Lawrence fully to be on that field and to be playing this game. I mean, Jacksonville's ahead of schedule. Thanks to Doug Peterson, thanks to Trevor Lawrence and all the money that they spent this offseason. And we're going to see what happens. If the Titans can avoid some of the penalties, and God knows that, with the turnovers, the sacks allowed, the penalties. I mean, Josh Dobbs ran for 12 yards and a first down, and it was wiped out by a hold on Treylon Burks. So that's the fun part, right? Is just seeing what can they do if they can just stop hitting themselves. It's almost like, stop it. If you've got a sibling, especially a younger one or an older one, it's like, stop it.
Why are you hitting yourself?
Exactly. That's what the Titans have been doing. So if they can clean up some of that and guys being rested, going through a faster speed practice can help with that. I mean, Pat O'Hara talked last week, Wednesday, excuse me. And I missed it because I went and picked up a new car. But he talked about how, part of the challenge when you're trying to develop rookie is when your team's so banged up, you're going through slower paced practices, trying to nurse guys through the week to get them back for game day. And that's been one of the things that, yes. Here's the fun things. Josh Dobbs had a season high pass attempts for this team against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, granted, he didn't have Derrick Henry in the backfield, but they took the chains off, so to speak, and let the quarterback throw. And Josh Dobbs showed that he could do that, that he could. I mean, there's a couple. There was one, Mike Vrabel brought it up more than once. There was a guy holding Treylon Burks' arm and flag wasn't thrown. And yet the Titans were flagged 3 times for 74 yards for defensive pass interference. So if this game is called evenly and the Titans stop doing some stuff, then, guys, I'll just say this. I know it's a 6.5-point spread last time I looked. To me, the Titans have every reason to think we can go in there and we can win this because they know exactly what's waiting for them. And guys, this is a team that has lost 3 straight playoff games, and they are this close to getting a chance to host a game and ending that streak. And the last time Derrick Henry got a game off to rest him up for the final run, needing to go win the final game of the regular season, 2019. Do we remember what happened in that postseason? He went to Houston, ran over them, and then literally carried the Titans to the AFC Championship game. So, yes, Josh Dobbs has been here since December 21st. So he's literally just into his 3rd week with this team. But why not? And with Mike Vrabel as coach on long rest, he's got a pretty good record.
She's not wrong.
No, she's never wrong.
Thank you.
Yes. So, Teresa Walker of the Associated Press, joining us here on Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. TERESA, always in demand, and so we really appreciate when she can take some time and visit with us.
We're going to give her the Main Street
the
Sports Today
good guy
award.
Yeah, absolutely.
There you go. We'll just put it up on your floating shelf back there behind.
Yeah. I'll add it to that. So there we go. Yeah, thank you. But and I don't mind being called good guy because I've always grown up around guys. I'm just kidding.
It's not gender specific.
Exactly.
It's the y'all award.
Yeah.
I like that. The good y'all award.
Good y'all.
That'll work.
Oh, TERESA, as always, we appreciate it. Thank you, and we will talk to you soon.
And hey, maybe next week we're talking about a playoff game or the GM search and some exactly. So
we'll be talking about something.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, TERESA.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we are still going to talk about something. We got a couple little things to get to before Jim Harbaugh, but Jim Harbaugh, Michigan, all that coming up right after this on Main Street Sports Today. Stick around.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Maury County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd. The goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Don't miss a minute of the action this season. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets to get your seats today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets. And we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Mo, before we get into Jim Harbaugh, just real quick, saw a tweet that said Luke Jackson could be headed to San Francisco, and if you don't think that that's a Jace Pete or a Jock Peterson ordeal, it definitely is. You know, the wine club out there. So that would be unfortunate, but I'll tell you.
But if there is a place that the Atlanta Braves can withstand a loss, it's in their bullpen.
The bullpen. Yep.
So,
also,
I mean, you'd hate to lose him.
Oh yeah, and he's a free agent, so you know you're not going to sign him if you the bullpen they've got. he would be an extra arm. So if he can go somewhere where he's going to be utilized, I say, good luck. Appreciate you.
Sure.
You were more than serviceable as an Atlanta Brave, and maybe we'll see you down the road. But good luck to Luke wherever he lands.
Absolutely.
Also, Eli Gold announced he is battling a treatable form of cancer. A statement said, "I want to thank everyone for their well wishes and prayers. After extensive testing, I have now been diagnosed of a treatable form of cancer. I'm already making progress and hope to get back behind the mic soon." He missed the entire 2022 football season, but could be back next year. So there's that. All right. Jim Harbaugh. There's some rumors circulating that he could be facing a potential multi-game suspension from the NCAA after allegations of some recruiting violations during the COVID year, one of which was simply watching practice on Zoom. Yeah.
Watching practice on Zoom. Watching his team practice?
I think it was a high school recruiting situation.
So this was during a non-contact period? Excuse me. Wow.
And a secondary violation for allegedly buying a recruit a hamburger at the Brown Jug restaurant. And it's not the buying of the hamburger that got him, Mo.
Of course not. It's the denying of the buying.
Can't lie to the NCAA. They don't like that.
They don't like being lied to, as a number of folks in this area are painfully aware.
Yeah, every time. Which, I mean, I guess 6 1/2 dozen of the other is Bruce Pearl, Rick Barnes, but they're basically the same. The same coach, not necessarily the same person. You got one's brother Barnes, the other is Bruce Pearl,
the deacon. Yes. So, yeah, but I mean, that's if they've got you, you might as well own up to it.
Yeah,
because they're going to really get you when you don't.
Yeah, if you just tell us, we're here to help you. You know, when the police tell you that, don't listen to their line. When the NCAA tells you that, do it.
But the flip side of that again is,
That's a great graphic.
There's Oklahoma State. I mean,
that's so
goodness.
good.
Wow, that's crazy. There's also Oklahoma State. I mean, do you cooperate with these guys or not?
Yeah, there's that. I don't disagree with you there. I mean, Oklahoma State is what you do is you don't tell them anything. You don't answer their questions. You say, you know what? I don't remember. I don't recall. You just don't answer it.
Now, this article on ESPN is primarily referencing alleged violations during the COVID-19 recruiting dead period. Alleged impermissible contact with recruits during NCAA mandated dead periods, use of a defensive analyst for on-field coaching activities. I'm not seeing the burger incident referenced in this article for what that's worth.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly where I saw that, but
I've seen it, but it's not in this article. So it was something I saw on Twitter.
There it is. Yeah. It was a rumor from who's it? Unnecessary Roughness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not seeing that anywhere else.
I'm not either.
It's on Barstool, which
take that as you will. But it wouldn't surprise me. Again, I don't think watching a Zoom practice is going to get you a multi-game suspension, for one,
right.
Even if it was a dead period. I don't think buying a hamburger is going to get you a multi-game suspension. What I do think will get you a multi-game suspension is lying about it and impeding their investigation.
Yeah.
No matter what the charge is, You can't impede the investigation. That's the problem that you're going to have if you're Michigan right here. And I think that's what's going to end up happening. So anyway, Mo,
Chris,
it's Friday.
It is.
And it's time to get out of here. We got, again, Friday tonight, we've got the Grizzlies. Tomorrow, the Titans, and Sunday, the Predators. So you got a weekend full of Nashville area sports and, of course, all of the other stuff that there is, high school and otherwise. So appreciate you guys hanging out with us all week long. We'll be back on Monday at 2 p.m. until 3:30. Until that time, we say so long. And Mo?
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.